Welcome, it's day 2 of 13 nights of Samhain. I'm out getting my 10,000 steps. And today's question is, share a piece of advice or a story from someone who has passed. So I'm going to share quite a few pieces of advice. I'm getting up in age. I've lost quite a few people in my life. So piece of advice number 1, my mother died 11 years ago. Suddenly from cancer, very early in life. She was 63. And on her deathbed, she shared this, her one piece of advice for life and living. This is it. Get ready to write it down. It's profound, it's deep. Have more fun. Yeah, have more fun. My mom said, have more fun. I thought I'd have time to have more fun. And this has been a real challenge for me, I have to be honest, because I'm a really serious person. And because of that, I struggle to have fun. As a matter of fact, it's one of the reasons that I married the person I did later in life, my now husband, because he loves to have fun. And I knew that he would help me be less serious about life. Even as a child, I was super serious about everything. Even when I was on the road, following the Grateful Dead, like everybody's just having this like great over the top time. And I'm like, I need to go to bed early tonight. I mean, everybody was like, man, you're like the most pragmatic person I know. So have more fun. Find ways to have fun. It doesn't take money to have fun. I have found that fun is a state of mind.
When we're having more fun, we are living from a childlike perspective. A perspective that suspends doubt, a world of faith, and a world of exploration. And I think that's a really powerful ally for your magical practice.
Piece of advice number 2 comes from my great-grandmother, who I was lucky enough to know for till I was about 11. And she said to me, this is a good one, if you set a beautiful table, your food can be just okay. And it's something I've really taken to heart over the years. You know, at times when I didn't have the money to really entertain on a grand scale, setting a good table or creating an atmosphere in my home that was welcoming really did pull off that dinner that makes everybody feel amazing.
Of course, there's a place for glamour magic in the world, but let's be honest, every one of us has the power of the magic of love and caring. And it's something that we can produce in order to create lasting generational change.
Yeah, advice number 3 comes from my father's mother, my grandmother. And she said to me once, I was heartbroken. I was dating someone that was totally wrong for me, and they were stringing me along. I was so convinced that I was in love with them and wanted them. I was sharing this with her, and she said, oh yeah, I know it feels like that, but you'll forget them. There'll be someone else. And I remember I was crushed by her just unfeelingness towards me. And now as I've gotten older, I think, wow, that was wisdom of her to just tell me like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. You know, if they're not right for you, the right person will show up.
Faith is incredibly powerful, and it's an important part of spell work. Having faith that things can be different and that we can affect change is what spell work is all about. Having faith that there will be something different and better requires us to let go of what has been.
That same grandmother, she was a wild woman for her time. She was born way, way, way too early in history. She should have been born right about now, let me tell you. But her other piece of advice to me, she once asked me, I was dating someone, and we were talking about getting married. And she said to me, is the sex good? And I was thrown aback. You know, this is my like 60-year-old grandmother. And she looks at me and she's like, if it's not good, find someone else that it is with. So I hope some of you got a chuckle out of that one.
True connection is powerful. The magic of that sizzling type of connection infuses our world with technicolor brilliance.
Next piece of advice comes from my mother's mother, very pragmatic woman. My mom was a single parent, so I spent a lot of time with her growing up, which is probably why I'm so serious about everything. Anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time. And I used to think, it would be so annoying to me because my grandmother would be like, why did you do that? You just rushed, you didn't do it right. And I've learned this is so true. Otherwise, you've got to go back and fix it, and do it the right way. So just slow down, enjoy the process, do it right. If you can't do it right now, maybe you're not supposed to be doing it right now.
Hear me out here. I believe that the creative thread of the universe runs through all things. And as magical practitioners, it's our job to slow down and tune into that thread so we can pick it up and stitch it into our reality. And we can't do that if we're rushed. We can't do that if we're just in a hurry to get somewhere and we're not present with what really is. In today's TikTok microwave society, we tend to think that things are instantaneous, but real magic, the craft, is slow and methodical and meaningful.
Last on my list is a story, and this is not for the faint of heart. There was a little old lady that lived behind me when I was growing up in California, and one time my cat caught a bird and jumped over her fence. I was so devastated by this. I climbed up on the fence, and the little old lady had been sitting in her backyard, and my cat had dropped the bird and went to run. And it was a dove. It was a beautiful dove. Oh my gosh. I have a thing for doves. And I said, my cat got that bird. And she went over and she looked at it, and I could see blood on it. She looked at it, and she walked over to her little shed, and she came out with a rake, and she turned the rake around so that the handle was facing down, and in one fell swoop, whack, she killed that bird right in front of me. And I remember just being, spiderweb, absolutely horrified as a kid. I must have been like 9 or 10 years old, something like that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that was just the most horrible thing. She could have saved the bird. Since then, now that I've gotten older, I thought, oh, how wise she was. That poor bird, it was suffering terribly. And so sometimes we have to do things in life. They're ugly. They don't look good from the outside, but in the long run, they're better, they're kinder. And so, it's obviously stuck with me. I'm 52 years old, and I remember that clear as day, thinking, how could she do that? How could she be so cold and mean, But she wasn't. She was actually being kind and caring and brave. It can be really brave to do the hard thing that doesn't feel good or even look good to other people. Anyway, really stuck with me. Let me know what your piece of advice that you got from someone who's passed on down below. I'd love to hear, and let's share, let's interact with each other. Let's really grow in this time of diving in. Samhain season is a time of diving in. Let's dive in together. Let's grow.